So here we are on day 1 of First Edition week, and we start off where pretty much every Transformer line starts off now. Bumblebee. Do you remember in 2006 when it was a huge deal to get a brand new Bumblebee toy, and now we're all sick of him? Well, this is a completely new take on Bumblebee, so let's give it a fair chance here, shall we? As you can see, he is based on the movie design. He is vaguely Camaro-ish. Same bright yellow, same racing stripes, though while I do like this deco a lot more than the movie one, it is a lot more involved, it's a lot more stylish, I am annoyed that it isn't quite complete. Aside from the fact that this line is supposed to go all the way from the hood, through the door, to the quarter panel on the back, yeah, I don't know why it's off center like that. I also don't know why they didn't incorporate that joint and hide it a little bit better. But deco-wise, that's really all I can complain about here. Everything else is pretty spot on. Translucent blue on the windows looks pretty nice. You can see all the little robot mode bits inside of it. Nice bold Autobot symbol there on the hood, which, yeah, it breaks the robots in disguise thing, but it's traditional. I don't care. I like how it looks. Headlights, also translucent blue, molded or screwed in there. Also, a little bit of paint app here on the front and some orange turn signals, apparently. And everything else, pretty standard. You got the black grille, the raised engine that's been painted silver, and giving me Armada Hotshot flashbacks, so I'll steer away from that. We've got the rims painted in silver, and the taillights done. Completely ignoring the little branding logo, which is vaguely molded in, no license plate, and the exhausts aren't painted. So it's a pretty standard deco for a Bumblebee, aside from the extra racing stripes, which, I don't mind. It does work pretty well. As far as the car mode, I do like it. I mean, it's got some sharper lines, it's harder edged than the movie's Camaro mode, so it's got a little bit more of a cybernetic feeling. I tend to like it. Reminds me kind of of Cybertron-style vehicle mode. Also, on a side point, this might just be mine, but I do notice a lot of little gaps that appear in the panels here. It looks like a better assembled one, they'd actually hold together better, but on mine, there are some annoying gaps. That one especially, which doesn't close up even if I squeeze it down. And right there, the windshields don't quite go together very well. Again, this could just be mine, the occasional one does get out of the factory that's like that, so mileage may vary, though I have seen it on other ones. The one thing that annoys me here is the only thing vehicle modes can do is roll, so that's the best you can hope for as far as function goes. Look at the back wheels. That's actually really nice. Look at that. Look how smooth that is. I wish they were all that smooth. Very nicely detailed, too. You can even see the brake pad behind it. However, we get to the front, nothing. Because of the way the elbow, or actually no, the way the shoulder joints are done, not really a whole lot of clearance in here. The result is a Bumblebee that only kind of half rolls well. It's really unfortunate. The one thing I can hope for out of a car Transformer is that it rolls well. And we didn't get it here. That said, I do prefer this look over the movie Bumblebee. It's stylish, it's sleek, and it suits Prime very well. It's very show accurate aside from the screwed up stripes on the side. So with that, we take it to robot mode. Bumblebee's got one of those transformations I absolutely cannot stand because it over-relies on tabs, pins, and pegs to hold together lots and lots of little panels. This is especially tricky in the legs. After you get through there, it's pretty standard stuff, though the chest does have some awkwardness to it. The first is that there are little gray pegs underneath the chest. Look underneath, watch how those are shaped, and make sure you don't accidentally snap them off because they can break. Also, the bumpers on the chest can slide down to make the design look a little bit more dynamic, though it's rather a 50-50 shot whether or not yours is capable of this. Mostly because of how small and tight those joints tend to be. Fully transformed Bumblebee is rather impressive to look at. I mean, I have to admit, I have issues that I will describe, but just general profile here, he's looking really cool. Now, for general accuracy stuff, they came as close as they could on the chest, but it's not quite as tight. In fact, that's probably my biggest issue with the toy. It's extremely wide. I mean, Bumblebee is wide-chested in the show, but not to this point, and his waist doesn't taper down to such a thin degree. This could almost be a feminine Autobot, if they ever wanted to make Glyph or something. You know, for the 6 people out there who remember who Glyph is. Now, you can fix this a little bit. The shoulders do seem to have something of an alternate transformation that you can leave in like that, and it does make his profile much narrower. However, it's not show accurate that way. These molded bits do point forward on his model, so you're kind of stuck. There's Bumblebee in all of his bleep bloop R2-D2 speak glory. I have to say, really brilliant light piping. It's an absolutely perfect shade of blue for letting in just enough light so that his eyes don't look dead, even in dim conditions. If we light him up a little bit more, very vibrant. And I love when the light piping works that well. Now, there are other details accurate to the show. The split is in there, you know, the midsection, of course. Shoulders are close, not quite. Arms are the same way. Close, not quite. And the only other big change from the vehicle, and the only other big change from the show model is the vehicle kibble that you really can't avoid. But that's all minor stuff. Overall, the toy still looks really nice. You got some extra silver paint apps that we've exposed. A little bit more here on the pelvis and some silver on the belly. Some extra black stripes to bring a little bit of his vehicle mode into the robot. I will say that the paint on his face is a little too dark for my taste. I think the New York Comic Con one in standard silver got it a little bit closer and nicer looking. Articulation wise, absolutely no slouch, fully ball jointed neck, shoulders, both directions, ball jointed elbows. The wrists can move in and out as well. This doesn't even play into the transformation, so it's just a little bonus if you need it. Ball jointed hips. They're a little restricted moving outward, but you can still get some nice poses out of them. Move it like that, and you can go all the way. And since he's got a swivel there, you can get a lot of poses out of it. 90 degrees on the knee, and you do have some articulation here at the foot going back and forth. No ankle tilt in this one. Though they are naturally molded so that he looks a little bit more natural by keeping his legs apart. He's got a waist joint too, which is actually getting rarer with more and more Transformers kind of accordioning together to form robot mode. In posing him, what I do find annoying is that the heel spur just barely clears everything else in the vehicle mode. All that extra kibble and parts all the way around. It does make it frustrating because I can't quite get a feel on where those heel spurs are when I need to balance him just right. He's still manageable though. He can still work a really nice pose. And the only other issue I would have with him is that weird slant on his door wings. There's no way to adjust that. I can't rotate them up at all, and I can't narrow them the way they would look on the show. Well, maybe a little bit, but not to any satisfactory degree. And at no point can I actually make them look parallel. They're always going to be at that 45-degree angle, which is kind of annoying. Comparing him to the one you can get on toy stores right now, you can see he's got a little bit more bulk, but he's no taller. And the vehicle mode, I will say, is also larger than the mainline one as well. See, the mainline one also got some of the colors a little bit different, but a little bit more show accurate. The feet, for instance, are black in the show model. Now, the goal of First Edition Week is to tell you whether or not these are worth paying the markup prices for compared to the mainline versions you can get at the stores. So I will tell you right now that in Bumblebee's case, kinda. Really depends. This one is only really held back by an automorph gimmick that doesn't quite work. You can see his shoulders don't quite go 90 degrees, and his head can stand to go back a little bit farther to better accommodate. It's just one click short. One click. If it just went one little bit farther, It's really frustrating. I'd say wait for the hotshot version of that mold. I can't believe I just said that. But hopefully that one actually fixes the automorph gimmick, because it's a really cool automorph. There's a ton going on, and it'd be the best one they ever did, if it worked all the way. One benefit is you do get both arm cannons in this version, whereas you probably noticed, this Bumblebee only has the one. That annoyed a lot of people, but it doesn't bug me that badly. I mean, at least they gave him any weapon accessory. For the big question, whether or not it's worth it to get this one instead of the mainline, I'd probably say yes if you can get it for normal retail. This is the least in-demand one, and it was the one they produced the most of. And since it's one of the 3 the US got, it shouldn't be all that hard to track one down. As long as you're not paying like more than $15 for them, I think you're doing pretty good. And in fact, if you can tolerate the white and pink RC, I'd say go ahead and get the New York Comic Con set that's still at Hasbro Toy Shop as of this recording. It's pretty much the same thing, but with better face paint apps, a little bit darker yellow, and a couple of interesting changes to the stripe deco and vehicle mode. If you keep them in robot mode, you probably wouldn't even notice the difference in your collection. So that is the final say on Bumblebee, marginally better than the mainline one. And overall, very solid toy, if strangely proportioned and over-reliant on little tabs. Stay tuned, we are just getting this week started. Of course, it's Monday, so that'd be obvious now, wouldn't it?